If today you received 2 million Kenyan shillings, what would you do first? Would you upgrade your car, move to a better apartment, plan a vacation, buy the latest phone? Or would you save it, invest it, divide it carefully? There's no judgment in that question, but your answer says something about your future. Today, I want to tell you a story, not a theory, not a lecture, a story that could be happening right now in Nairobi. It's about two friends who started at the same place, but ended up in completely different worlds. This is the story of Brian and Kevin. Brian and Kevin grew up in the same neighborhood in Nairobi. They walked to school together, shared textbooks sometimes, played football until sunset. They both came from hard-working families, not rich, not poor, just surviving. One evening, when they were about 16 years old, they were sitting on a rooftop watching the city lights. Kevin said confidently, "One day, I'll drive the biggest car in this estate. People must know I made it." Brian laughed. "What does making it mean?" Kevin answered immediately. "Money, success, respect, you know." "The life." Brian was quiet for a moment. "I just want a life where I'm not stressed about money." Kevin shook his head. "You think too small." That was the first sign. They both wanted success, but they defined it differently. Years later, both graduated from university and got jobs at the same company in Nairobi. When the first salary came in, Kevin called Brian immediately. "It's in. Check your account." That night, Kevin insisted they celebrate. At the restaurant, Kevin leaned back in his chair and said, "This is the beginning. No more living small." Within months, Kevin upgraded everything. New phone, new clothes, weekends out in Westlands. Eventually, a car loan. He even took trips to Mombasa and posted beach photos with captions like "hard work pays." Brian celebrated too, but differently. He opened a savings account, started investing small amounts, created a budget. Kevin teased him constantly. "Bro, enjoy your life. Why are you acting like you're already 50? Brian would smile. "I'm acting like I want options at 50. 3 years passed. Kevin's lifestyle looked impressive. He moved into a high-end apartment, upgraded his car, bought designer clothes. Relatives started praising him. "You've made it," they said. He felt proud, powerful, but behind the scenes, car loan, credit card balance, high rent. Meanwhile, Brian was still in a modest apartment. He read books about long-term investing, including lessons from people like Warren Buffett. He wasn't flashy, but he was stable. One evening, Kevin confronted him. "Why are you afraid to level up?" Brian looked at him carefully. "I'm not afraid to level up. I'm afraid to level up too fast." Kevin laughed. "You worry too much," Brian replied softly, "and you worry too little." Kevin eventually got engaged. He organized a huge proposal event. Flowers, photographer, expensive ring. Everyone applauded. Later that night, Brian asked quietly, "Can you afford all this comfortably?" Kevin snapped. "Why do you always make everything about money?" Brian didn't answer. Because sometimes people don't want advice. They want validation. But pressure was building. Family expectations increased. Relatives began requesting financial support. And Kevin, wanting to maintain his image, said yes to everything. Then came the year everything changed. The company downsized. Both Brian and Kevin lost their jobs. At first, Kevin stayed confident. "I'll get another one fast." But weeks turned into months. Savings, almost none. Loans, still there. One night, Kevin called Brian. His voice was different. "Bro, I messed up." His car was about to be repossessed. Creditors were calling daily. His fiancée confronted him. "Why didn't you save?" she asked, during a tense argument. Kevin replied defensively. "I was building a life for us." She responded quietly. "No, you were building an image." That sentence broke something inside him. Soon after, the engagement ended. The car was taken. He moved into a smaller place, and for the first time, he felt small. Brian lost his job too. But he had 1 year of emergency savings. No debt. Investments he could rely on. He felt fear. Of course he did, but not panic. He told his mother. She asked only one question. Are you stable? Yes. Then you will rise again. Brian used part of his savings to start a small logistics business. It was slow, difficult. There were months he doubted himself, but he kept expenses low, reinvested profits, stayed disciplined. 10 years passed. Brian now owned rental properties. His business expanded steadily. His investments compounded quietly. He wasn't loud, he wasn't flashy, but he was wealthy. Kevin struggled. He worked different short-term jobs. Debt followed him. He admitted one day while sitting across from Brian, I thought you were scared, but you were preparing. Brian replied calmly. We both earned the same money. The difference was what we did with it. Kevin looked down. I wanted to look rich. Brian nodded. I wanted to be rich. Frugality is not exciting. It doesn't impress people. It doesn't get applause, but it builds strength. Extravagance feels powerful in the moment. But if it's not backed by stability, it collapses under pressure, and life will test you. Not once, but many times. Right now, as you sit here, your future is forming. In every spending decision, in every saved shilling, in every loan you choose to take or avoid. You may not see the results this year, but 5 years from now, 10 years from now, the gap will be clear. Brian and Kevin started the same. One built security, one built image. One ended wealthy, one ended struggling. Not because of luck, not because of salary, but because of habits. So tonight, ask yourself, are you building applause or are you building assets? Because storms don't send invitations, and when they come, only foundations survive. Thank you.